Call this this special school committee meeting to order. Dr. Marisa, lead us in a salute to the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone wishing to make public comment? Do we know of anyone? No.
There was no one registered.
There isn't anyone registered. One last call, public comment. Seeing none. Discussion and appointment of interim superintendent of schools. That's the purpose of this special meeting this evening, is to determine who will take the lead up to and until we establish a search committee, which I'm anticipating, other than if there's a comment from the rest of the members of the committee. I'm thinking probably December, we establish a committee. I'm told this is not an ideal time to be looking for a replacement because whoever's interested is probably no longer available. Yes?
Is it appropriate to ask a question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask that in the past, my recollection of when things like this happen, the person that is appointed usually stays in the job, gets the job later on. What are the chances of this happening again? And also, my thing is that, I've been asking questions about this, and I understand that there's 3.5 months left before school starts again. And it seemed like that's plenty of time that this search committee could search for a person, the right person for the position. Why is it done the other way?
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
Does anyone on the committee wish it? Mr. Stevens, you've been experienced in these kinds of things.
Usually, this isn't a good time to search for a superintendent of the school or even a principal. But the superintendent of the schools right now, most of the people who would be looking for a new job, good candidates, are already ready to start work on July 1st. We've been through it before, and it's very difficult to find outstanding candidates at the end of the year. The best thing to do usually is start November, December, start your search committee, get a good search committee together, and then you would have, we'll say, starting from the first of the year till April to really come up with your candidate, a good candidate for this.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the first part of my argument?
That has not, Mr. Jokola was an interim, and he was looked at as the best candidate at the time. Even before he was made interim, he was as a good candidate.
Even though he did not have any experience in education as some of the other candidates had?
Yes.
Wow.
I think, at the time, Mr. Jokola had been in the system for 10 years, but as business manager, and as business manager, he had a great knowledge also of education besides the business needs. And Fitchburg, I think, in my opinion, needed a business manager at that time. And I think that's come to show that he's done a great job with the finances, and also what he did bringing himself up to speed in the educational field was excellent. So
I certainly respect your point of view, but I've done some research, and my sources are telling me that there were candidates there that had the experience and the qualifications, and they were overlooked. I just thought I'll just mention that.
That's water over the dam. I mean, that's in the past. Mr. Hughes, you had a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've served on a number, probably 2 or 3 superintendent search committees, and one of the things that we frown upon is rushing to get someone in place, feeling pressure But I think this is an extremely important job in the city. It involves our future. So I think that time ought to take time and do a thorough search. However, I do agree if there's someone that is in-house that is highly qualified, that can be recommended for the job, then I would not object to if that person is the best person, not wasting any money or wasting any time. Because we know we waste money, and I've been on search committees in the past. We flew people in from California, wined and dined them, and it just didn't work out. So I assume that, I hope that we don't, we take into consideration, not wasting any money or not wasting any valuable taxpayers' time or dollars or anything like that. And if there's someone qualified in-house, then if they prove themselves, or if, I don't even know who's going to be interim, but if it is the case, then make the appointment, and I will certainly support that.
Thank you. We have the HR director here for the school system. Would you like to offer your thoughts on the timing and how critical that is?
Sure. I would echo what Mr. Stevens and what Mr. Hughes said. When you do a search at this time of year, really you need someone to start July 1. We're not looking at 3.5 months because there's so much. Our busiest time of year in central office is the summer. So there's a lot of planning that goes into what's going to happen in August and September. So we need that time. And if we have an internal candidate to appoint as interim, and then we decide whether or not that interim is going to apply for a position, if they're doing a great job and you want to just appoint, those are all things that you can discuss. But having this time to kind of settle down and settle back a little bit, and for continuity's sake, keeping someone that we have, and we can do some shuffling in central office that needs to be done to accommodate that. I think that is our best way to do it. Having experience seeing having an internal candidate get the position, sometimes you still need to go through the entire search process just to be able to say they were the best candidate for the job, because if there's an internal candidate and they are the right person, they always rise to the top in the search process. But there are some decisions that you'll have to make in terms of having an outside agency, utilizing who we have on the inside, which would be me and my department. We just had a very successful search committee for a high school principal. But sometimes we don't have a lot of candidates either. So at this time of year, we won't have any candidates except for maybe a retiree. And for continuity's sake, I would hope that we would stick with someone who's internal right now.
Thank you. Question?
One of the things you, Mr. Mayor, as chairman, will appoint the chairman of the search committee. And in the past, it does not have to be somebody from school committee, HR, assistant superintendent. I've been on a couple of search committees with Dr. Vincent Mara, president of the college, which chaired the search committee. So it could be somebody other, that you would select that lead an independent search for. And it could be somebody, the president of the college. It could be the president of Mount Wachusett. Or it could be somebody from the business community that would lead the search.
Ms. Fabali, my intent is to compile a group in December, begin the process then. Does that make sense?
You could actually start looking as quickly as October.
October, okay.
But, MASC handles a lot of superintendent searches across the state, Massachusetts Association for School Committees, and they often will start posting in October, anywhere from October to December. Okay. So if you want to be competitive, I would say that. I'm happy to help facilitate whatever search there is, because I do think that there are certain tracking devices that we use now in Talent Ed and whatnot that we need to have a part of that as well. And so facilitating all of those things, I'm happy to oblige.
Well, thank you for that offer. We'll certainly take you up on it.
Okay.
I would then like to make a...
Yes, Mr.
One more
Hughes.
question to the HR director. Is that the only organization that that's around to do it? Because I
No,
know when
others do it,
we used a couple of them in the past, so I didn't know if those were the
Yeah,
same ones.
NASDAQ does it, everyone does it a little differently.
Right.
We're all basically putting out there what we are looking for, and they help compile, they do a lot of the research.
Okay.
So surveys and whatnot, but we just did one of those for the high school principal, so it's just on a slightly larger scale. And either way, the search committee would comprise of, members of the community, school committee members, staff, parents.
The other thing that concerns me when with these organizations is, sometimes they have their favorite person in the wing. You know what I mean? And I clearly,
And it can be costly. I already
Right.
work here.
you know what I mean? So I just want to, I certainly will be watching.
Right.
I don't want, if someone backs out and then and all of a sudden they reappear as the top runner, I will definitely publicly disagree with that, because if somebody don't think Fitchburg is good enough to stay in the race and they get out and then they all of a sudden reappear, that will not fly with me. So I just want to make that publicly right now.
Mr.
Thank you.
Walsh?
I mean, I think whether we go through MASC or some other group, but obviously this gets posted on all the sites that you use, that you did for principal. And I still think the search committee that you described in terms of parents, staff, school committee members, members of the community, they will be looking at all the applications that are received. So whether or not someone gets recommended, it's still the search committee who will decide who to talk to X number over the phone, invite X number to come in person to present, and I think the committee will be dedicated to review and select the best person for our district. So I think I have confidence in the people who will be serving on that, especially parents, staff.
Absolutely.
People who work in the school, people whose children go to the school, want the best person for X number of years to lead the district. So I'm confident the committee will do.
One comment, and Mr. Hughes, I like MASC. MASC is Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and they work for us. And the Massachusetts Association of Superintendents works for superintendents.
Right.
So I prefer that our organization, who works for us, and is a good organization.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Make a
All right,
motion.
yeah, it's open to the committee. Make a motion for.
I'm going to make a
appoint-
motion that we appoint our Assistant Superintendent, Jonathan Thompson, for the 23-24 school year
Second,
as interim superintendent.
second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
is there opportunity for us to maybe ask Mr. Thompson a few questions, or would that be at a later time?
Sure. Fine with that. Yep.
Okay. Right now?
You want to ask him now? Let's ask him now.
Right on the spot?
Before we vote you in, you know what I mean? Then we're stuck with you, so, I mean,
No, I was just wondering, so, I'm not, I'll save my questions for later, that's fine. Thank you. Congratulations.
Call for a vote.
no questions? Oh,
Call for a vote.
Yep, I'm ready to vote.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Show of hands, all opposed? None? Seeing none? It is unanimous. Welcome aboard.
Okay.
You've been
Thank you.
around a while.
Yeah. So, can I have a few minutes? I'm gonna
You want to say
keep
something?
us here longer, yes.
Go ahead, yeah.
Thank you. So a little bit about me. I've been in Fitchburg now. This is finishing up my 13th year. I started here as the assistant principal at South Street Elementary School, moved up to principal, and now here as assistant superintendent. I love Fitchburg. Over these last 13 years, I've been approached a number of times to leave this district, and I have not, and I will not. When I came here 13 years ago, the families in the community really made an impression on me, and I love what I do here. So I am Fitchburg all the way. In addition, a little bit about my experience. This is my 22nd year in education. I started off in the Winchendon Public School System as a paraprofessional at the age of 18, right out of high school. I graduated on a Sunday. The next day I started as a paraprofessional. And I worked in the Winchendon Public School Systems for 4 years as I got my degree at Framingham State. In that time, I've done many different camp counseling positions, and also different stints at school districts in my 4 years. After that, I was hired right away in Framingham for a long-term substitute teacher position, where I did that for several months, and then I finally got my first teaching position in a local district nearby, and I taught there for 6 years, and then came to Fitchburg. So I am a classroom teacher at heart. So that's just a little bit about me. Also during that time, I was also a paraprofessional, teacher, literacy coach, mentor coordinator. I've done a lot, but my heart really does lie in the classroom. So I'm here for students, I'm here for families, and I'm here for teachers. So,
May I ask
Questions?
a question?
Yes.
Do you live in Fitchburg, sir?
no, I do not live in Fitchburg.
Wasn't there, I mean, congratulations, you know, isn't there a policy somewhere, or?
No.
That the
Not for
superintendent-
Fitchburg.
Not in Fitchburg, so it's.
Police and
other
fire
places, but not in
only.
Fitchburg.
Police and fire,
Just-
right.
Okay, just,
Any other?
Well, I'd
Yes.
like to give my congratulations, and I must say that this is the most courteous man who's respectful to everybody that he speaks to,
Amen.
who listens, gives intelligent responses, and you can have conversations. So this is a gift you have, and I'm delighted that we'll have exposure to it.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I
Okay.
appreciate the support. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn. Oh,
one
yes.
other question. Is it possible, I hope it is, for you to do the best you can to help diversify the district a lot more than what it is?
Absolutely.
Only because, as I said, research shows that when students are exposed to, you know, administrators and educators of color, you know, that looks like them and sound like them, since we have such a high population of people of color, students of color in the district, so that it can be more representative of that, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely, Dr. Knight. That's one of our goals in our strategic plan, and I will continue working on that.
Bingo. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just
Yes.
So I do agree with Dr. Knight. However, I'm of the opinion, get the best person in front of them.
That are qualified.
Yeah.
That is qualified.
There you go.
That will
Yes.
pull out the best in our children here in Fitchburg. And I want to, again, congratulate you and thank you, because if you had an opportunity, there's people that had opportunities and they took that opportunity and went elsewhere. But you came, you stayed, and I hope that you will look for someone who did the same thing as your assistant.
Absolutely.
That will help you navigate through the next few months of upcoming. It's going to be challenging all summer. Education is never easy. So I want to thank you again for willing to step up and say, hey, I feel like I can provide this leadership at this time. Thank you. Thank you too, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn.
Adjourn.
We are adjourned.